Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. I'm called Maureen Z. We'll begin with our top stories. Police in Bamenda have just denotated an improvised explosive device this Monday evening at the Tarikun quarter around the area known as Frondi Junction. As heavy rains continue to batter cities in Cameroon, the population of the far north region say they are on the alert. On weather forecast indicates heavy rainfall from August 15 with untold consequences. Some have begun filling sand in bags as a means of preventing floods. And political analysts have warned that the military approach promised by ECOWAS a solution to the Niger coup may be a drawing path through the West African organization. This is a division within the sub-region is already gathering words with members countries pledging support to their allies. Those are major stories. Titles right ahead. Good evening once more. We take you to Bamenda, the northwest region of Cameroon, where police have denotated an improvised explosive device this Monday evening at the Tarikun quarter around the area known as Frondi Junction. Planted in a bag, the device was discovered by a scrap iron scalper who reportedly informed the police. It should be noted that the detonation process created a loud a sound on this ghost town Monday where there is a graveyard silence in Bamenda. I'll bring you more details in our subsequent editions of newscasts. As heavy rains continue to batter cities in Cameroon, the population of the far north region of Cameroon say they are on the alert as weather forecast indicates heavy rainfall from August 15, 2023 with untold consequences. Some have begun filling sand in bags as a way of preventing floods. More in the following story. They seem to be going about their usual activities. Birds remain conscious of what might befall them in the days ahead as heavy rains continue to batter the far north region of Cameroon. Inhabitants of neighborhoods, particularly those of Logon and Share division, have been alerted of weather predictions, warnings of worse rainfall from August 15. The consequences on the population will be gravely if fast preventive measures are not taken.
On souhaite aussi au gouvernement cette année de nous aider avec le problème de l'inondation.
Those in flood-prone areas still hold sad souvenirs of heavy downpour that usually cause enormous flooding, thus provoking rivers to overflow its banks. At this point, houses are overflooded, landslides and collapse of buildings imminent. Several persons get drowned. Due to the cold weather, most are affected by malaria and waterborne diseases.
On a prévu les sacs parce qu'on va mettre la terre et c'est avec ça qu'on va faire. Sinon, on n'a pas la force pour faire ça. Et la commune aussi nous aide.
This man tells me they are obliged to take personal initiatives like filling bags with sand and mounds in front of homes and specific areas to contain the floods. They also applaud the actions of the City Council that have embarked on continuous sensitization. The Council, they say, have succeeded to keep everyone on the alert.
Sur l'inondation en 2023, peut-être 2024, nous préparons sérieusement.
Meantime, the council has also identified safer areas which could serve as new resettlement to those in risk zones. The distribution of presidential grants that entails foodstuff and other items has been described as safety measures in times of crisis, like in the case of the Far North region, where they can only guard against heavy rains but can't run from the ancestral land. Besides the floods, Boko Haram attacks has pushed many out of their comfort zones in the Far North region of Cameroon. Now, how works to refurbish 3 veterinary laboratories financed by the U.S. government unfolding in Cameroon? A delegation from the U.S. White House, including 2 senators, began an inspection tour in the nation's political capital, Yaoundé branch of the National Veterinary this Monday. After Yaoundé, the team will be in Douala and Gara. More with our reporter, Beatrice Ngamu.
The National Veterinary Laboratory Yaoundé branch first stop for visiting U.S. delegation to see how the money for refurbishment and renovation has changed the center. Dressed for business, the team moved from the bacteriology to main lab unit, the secure freezer room, cleaning autoclave, to necropsy, feeding their eyes and asking questions or explanations when necessary.
To reconstruct our laboratory in order for us to have quality great laboratories in Cameroon. And as I said, anything that is being done in Cameroon by the U.S. government is for the whole Africa, because we have a lot of over 10 African countries that rely on our vaccine, that send their technicians or their students here for the capacity building, for the training.
The eye face over time for detailed briefing from the Director General on how this center specialized in research, diagnosis, vaccine production, and quality control has changed.
Actually, we are transforming Lanavet Annex Yaoundé into International Genomic Center in order for us to go to the NGS, that's the next generation sequencing of all the pathogens circulating, for better understanding. And as I said, we are also developing some candidate vaccine.
Fruit of U.S.-Cameroon cooperation worth billion of France CFA to support Cameroon in its response to public like animal health challenges and to rapidly detect, diagnose, and monitor dangerous pathogens. From Yaoundé, the U.S. delegation will travel to the Douala branch and then the Garoua headquarters. The National Veterinary Laboratory, dubbed LANAVET, is in the production and marketing of vaccines and drugs, analysis of biological samples in order to make diagnosis, study animal diseases, surveillance of epizootics, and many.
And the Ministry of External Relations this Monday played a host to the third session of Cameroon-India intergovernmental consultations, opportunity to instill fresh impetus to lift our cooperation high to its strategic level, especially in the political, economic, and commercial sectors. Beatrice Gamo completes that story for us.
After the institution of the intergovernmental consultation between Cameroon and India that saw the holding of the first session in Cameroon in 2002 and second in 2008 in India, 15 years later, time to revive the cooperation spirit. For this third session of Cameroon-India intergovernmental consultation this Monday in Yaoundé.
This is one opportunity. A consultation between the 2 foreign ministries will provide us opportunity to review the progress we have achieved and whatever the pending issues to discuss and to take forward new areas for cooperation.
The first part of the day saw the review on areas of interest such as trade and commerce, defense and security, mining and healthcare, capacity building, judicial, culture and more.
I can assure you that my country, Cameroon, intends to instill fresh impetus to lift our cooperation higher to a strategic level.
This was followed by exchange of views on regional and multilateral issues.
India's development cooperation with Cameroon flows from our philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. It means the whole world is one family. and is guided by the South-South cooperation.
The High Delegation, led by Indian Foreign Minister, the High Commissioner to Cameroon, before Cameroon's Minister of External Relations and team, to stir up fresh impetus between Cameroon and India.
A learning platform, an online learning platform with codename Yakili, is being proposed to children as a way of intensifying learning online or e-learning. The digital platform comes after experts diagnose limitations in classroom learning. More in the following story.
In Cameroon, experts in the education sector have warned that learning only in classrooms has its limits.
Not a new thing. It is there to optimize. It is there to enhance education. And of course, Cameroon should not be left out. Central African region should not be left out. Africa should not be left out. And Yakili is just coming to say, you know what? Let's move forward from the traditional. Of course, the traditional is there. We are not here to take it away. We're here to enhance.
What we notice is that the classroom is two-dimensional. You have the teacher and the student.
An in-depth analysis on the learning deficits in Cameroon and sub-Saharan African countries have grouped experts in the domain to create learning apps like Yakili. The learning platform, according to these experts, is a solution to certain problematic proven tough for pupils and students.
This platform is to optimize education, to enhance education via animated video lessons. We have for primary schools, secondary, high schools, for both French and English learners.
While the Ministry of Secondary Education has been promoting e-learning, there is an ever-present problem of limited digital infrastructure, unreliable electricity, high internet costs, and limited digital skills, which need urgent solutions.
We deploy it offline and online. So someone can actually subscribe to the app and yet have the offline part of the app, which he's able to use without internet.
Just like BB Incubator Center, this center is out to empower youths and render them self-employed. The Yakili Learning app has been described as timely in a context where parents are constantly in search for means to facilitate the learning of their children. A sports walk in Bonaberi, Douala, marks the official launch of the learning platform, closely followed by sensitization and educating parents on its use. Famous artist Stanley Eno is the brand ambassador for the project to promote the education of children in Cameroon.
And Nigeria's immigration services say they have several times blocked envy into their territory of arms, this time for Cameroon. They add that in recent months, allies of the separatist movements fighting to cut off the northwest and southwest regions of Cameroon from the rest of Cameroon have attempted to smuggle weapons through Nigeria to Cameroon, and understanding that has so far according to them, has been unsuccessful. Tariq Ezibanjino has a rest of that story.
The controller of Nigeria's immigration service in the Cross River State, Emmanuel Akirinsola, has disclosed that separatist groups in Cameroon's southwest region have recently made several attempts to move weapons into or through Nigeria to Cameroon. Speaking at the headquarters of the Nigerian Immigration Service in Calabar at the weekend, he said all the attempts were frustrated by immigration officers. According to him, the separatist movements in Cameroon are always trying to enter Nigeria with arms. He added that border controls have been stepped up to stop terrorists and other unscrupulous elements from using Nigeria as an arms trafficking territory. Nigeria's Immigration Service says it is also reinforcing collaboration with other security agencies in the country to permanently monitor the situation. In recent weeks, at least 10 American citizens originating from Cameroon have been in legal troubles in the U.S. They have been either charged or convicted for aggravating the crisis across English-speaking Cameroon through attempts to ferry in weapons through Nigeria. More than 6,000 people have died in clashes between the separatists and the government since 2017. In addition to the deaths almost 1 million people have been displaced, the majority of them becoming refugees in Nigeria, according to the International Crisis Group.
And Nigeria's Customs Service has issued a red alert for all officers and personnel monitoring the country's borders with Cameroon and Benin Republic. The move, according to Nigeria's Customs Chief Bashir Adeniyi, says must be 100% implemented. Sarah Sherifa completes that story.
Nigeria's Customs Chief Bashir Adeniyi has urged all the border patrol agents working for customs to be completely watchful and aware and advised them to wage war against any attempt to jeopardize national security. The customs official explained that special attention must be given to any transit goods heading to Niger Republic, adding that any transit goods through the Nigeria's customs territory should be stopped if they are headed to Niger Republic. President Bola Tinubu last week ordered the shutting down of Nigerian land borders with Niger Republic as part of measures against the military junta in the West African country. According to Adeniyi, criminals in attempts to smuggle arms into Niger Republic may explore other land borders like that of Benin Republic and Cameroon. According to him, the Nigerian Customs Service is monitoring the situation in Niger closely, and one of the decisions taken in wisdom of the heads of state is the closures of the Nigerian borders with Niger.
And political analysts have warned that the military approach promised by ECOWAS as a solution to the Niger coup may be as a drawing path to the West African organization. This is a division within the sub-region, is already getting member countries pledging support to their allies. The fate of ECOWAS may be hanging on the thread if they embarks on such drastic measures. More with our reporter, Aisincha.
The August 6, 2023 deadline issued by the Economic Community of West African States on the Niger military junta to restore the democratically elected president has come and gone. And Africa and the world are watching to see if ECOWAS will step in with military intervention as earlier promised, an approach political analysts describe as totally unwise, far from being a solution, but rather a step towards creating more problems to the entire continent.
From my perspective, it's a very wrong approach. Military intervention should first of all consider by any wise leader the humanitarian impact. There's no such thing as good war. Do not threaten to go with the military when you are not sure of how to take care of the consequences that will follow.
There is this principle of causality. I think ECOWAS could have looked into why the military junta. The population is with the junta. It means that really there is something wrong.
A military intervention would lead to several cracks on the walls of Niger, and that may last for a very, very long time. Uranium and gold is what the big powers are fighting over. Us, the Africans, we should be able to know that we must not expose our people to suffering that we have seen in Libya and some other countries that have been involved in military intervention.
With the conflicting views and actions plaguing the sub-region, the analysts underline that ECOWAS, under the new chairperson, Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria, may be heading towards a very devastating direction.
ECOWAS is even, as we stand now, at loggerheads because the young presidents are not in agreement with the old presidents. The military presidents are not in agreement with the democratically elected presidents, for the simple fact that democratically elected presidents are violating the constitutions of their country on a daily basis. ECOWAS is already at the verge of collapse. And what can revive this union is for them to sit down and say, hey, we have to rethink the strategy of maintaining ECOWAS alive again, in terms of political policy, in terms of military intervention, in terms of even cooperation and collaboration among this sub-region.
And with countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Algeria, among others, already pledging their unconditional support for the Niger military junta, member states are carefully reviewing their stance. A case in point is the Nigerian Senate, which has rejected Tinubu's request for military intervention in troubled Niger.
And that report brings us to the end of this edition of the Primetime Newscast in the English language on Canal International. Thanks so much for watching. But coming up next is the brief with Lil Piaget. As of me, I'll be back same time, this time around tomorrow. Good night.